It's new play day on Shakesyear. How exciting is that? We are gonna start digging into the comedy of errors, which thank goodness it's a comedy. We could use a comedy. You know, that whole Romeo and Juliet thing sort of psyched us out for a couple acts there and made us think it was going to be fun, but then it wasn't. So now we're going to do the Comedy of Errors. And just a couple of fun side notes about the Comedy of Errors. It is the third shortest play, but it has the fewest words out of any of Shakespeare's plays. It has fewer than 2,000 lines, but I believe Much Ado About Nothing and The Winter's Tale, or maybe shorter. I forget what the other really short one was. But anyway, it's the third shortest play, and the title really leaves nothing to the imagination. It's a comedy that contains errors. And yes, if you're reading the folio, you're going to find errors in terms of like calling characters by the wrong names and that sort of a thing. But in terms of the plot, it's all about mistaken identity and people getting the wrong props and all of this sort of thing. So let's dig in. The important thing to know is that it takes place in the city of Ephesus, and the city of Ephesus does not like the city of Syracuse, and that's where we kick things off. We have Aegeon, who's a man from Syracuse, and he has been found in Ephesus, and he's sort of been taken captive. And so the Duke of Ephesus, whose name is Solinus, has him, and Aegeon is like, okay, go ahead, do your worst, sentence me, whatever. And the Duke of Ephesus says, oh, and we're in Act 1, Scene 1. Just also sort of random side note, similar to Romeo and Juliet, there's very few scene delineations, but there are at least act delineations. So we are in Act 1, Scene 1. At some point we'll get to Act 1, Scene 2, but we're in Act 1, Scene 1, which is where I would hope we would be, because this particular monologue starts off with line 3 of the play. So if you can do an entire scene in 2 lines, well, I guess that could happen. But anyway, we're in Act 1, Scene 1, and we get to hear from the Duke of Ephesus, whose name is Solinus, who is talking to a merchant of Syracuse, whose name is Aegeon. And Aegeon is like, go ahead, sentence me. And the Duke says, merchants of Syracuse, plead no more. I am not partial to infringe our laws. The enmity and discord which of late sprung from the rancorous outrage of your Duke to merchants, our well-dealing countrymen, who, wanting guilders to redeem their lives, have sealed his rigorous statutes with their bloods, excludes all pity from our threatening looks. For since the mortal and intestine jars twixt thy seditious countrymen and us, it hath in solemn synods been decreed, both by the Syracusians and ourselves, to admit no traffic to our adverse towns. Nay, more, if any born at Ephesus be seen at any Syracusian marts and fairs, again, if any Syracusian born come to the bay of Ephesus, he dies. His goods confiscate to the Duke's dispose, unless 1,000 marks be levied to quit the penalty and to ransom him. Thy substance, valued at the highest rate, cannot amount unto 100 marks. Therefore, by law, thou art condemned to die. So yay, what a fun way to start off a comedy, right? We have 2 warring cities, and we don't really find out what the war is about. We just know that the Duke of Syracuse apparently has some sort of temper, and this means that Syracuse and Ephesus cannot be friends, and they were unable to reconcile things between the 2 cities. So they instead decided that nobody should travel from one city to the other. There's a travel ban in Syracuse against Ephesians, and there's a travel ban in Ephesus against Syracusians. And what's more, if anyone from one of the cities is found in the other city, they are put to death and their goods are confiscated unless they can come up with $1,000 like as bail money or bond money, that kind of a thing. And this particular merchant of Syracuse, Aegeon, only has about $100 worth of stuff on him, so therefore he is sentenced to die. And Aegeon actually takes it pretty well. He's like, yeah, okay, I guess by sundown I'll be dead. And Solinus, the Duke of Ephesus, is like, you know what? At least tell me why you're here. And he does. And that's tomorrow's monologue. And I'm telling you in advance, it's a long one. It's loads of exposition, but we will get into that tomorrow. And I will see you then. Mwah.